During the Boer War, Gandhi volunteered in 1900 to form a group of stretcher bearers as the Natal Indian Ambulance Corps. According to Arthur Herman, Gandhi wanted to disprove the British colonial stereotype that Hindus were not fit for manly activities involving danger and exertion, unlike the Muslim martial races. Gandhi raised 1,100 Indian volunteers to support British combat troops against the Boers. They were trained and medically certified to serve on the front lines. They were auxiliaries at the Battle of Colenso to a white volunteer ambulance corps. At the Battle of Spion Kop, Gandhi and his bearers moved to the front line and had to carry wounded soldiers for miles to a field hospital because the terrain was too rough for the ambulances. Gandhi and 37 other Indians received the Queen's South Africa Medal. In 1906, the Transvaal government promulgated a new act compelling registration of the colony's Indian and Chinese populations. At a mass protest meeting held in Johannesburg on the 11th of September that year, Gandhi adopted his still-evolving methodology of satyagraha, devotion to the truth, or non-violent protest, for the first time. According to Anthony Parel, Gandhi was also influenced by the Tamil moral text Tirukkural after Leo Tolstoy mentioned it in their correspondence that began with a letter to a Hindu. Gandhi urged Indians to defy the new law and to suffer the punishments for doing so. Gandhi's ideas of protests, persuasion skills, and public relations had emerged. He took these back to India in 1915. Gandhi focused his attention on Indians and Africans while he was in South Africa. He initially was not interested in politics. This changed, however, after he was discriminated against and bullied, such as by being thrown out of a train coach because of his skin color by a white train official. After several such incidents with whites in South Africa, Gandhi's thinking and focus changed, and he felt he must resist this and fight for rights. He entered politics by forming the Natal Indian Congress. According to Ashwin Desai and Ghulam Vahed, Gandhi's views on racism are contentious in some cases, but that changed afterward. Gandhi suffered persecution from the beginning in South Africa. Like with other colored people, white officials denied him his rights, and the press and those in the streets bullied and called him a parasite, semi-barbarous, canker, squalid coolie, yellow man, and other epithets. People would spit on him as an expression of racial hate. While in South Africa, Gandhi focused on the racial persecution of Indians before he started to focus on racism against Africans. In some cases, state Desai and Vahed, his behavior was one of being a willing part of racial stereotyping and African exploitation. During a speech in September 1896, Gandhi complained that the whites in the British colony of South Africa were degrading the Indian to the level of a raw Kafir. Scholars cite it as an example of evidence that Gandhi at that time thought of Indians and black South Africans differently. As another example given by Herman, Gandhi, at age 24, prepared a legal brief for the Natal Assembly in 1895, seeking voting rights for Indians. Gandhi cited race history and European Orientalists' opinions that Anglo-Saxons and Indians are sprung from the same Aryan stock, or rather the Indo-European peoples, and argued that Indians should not be grouped with the Africans. Years later, Gandhi and his colleagues served and helped Africans as nurses and by opposing racism. The Nobel Peace Prize winner Nelson Mandela is among admirers of Gandhi's efforts to fight against racism in Africa. The general image of Gandhi, state Desai and Vahed, has been reinvented since his assassination as if he was always a saint, when in reality his life was more complex, contained inconvenient truths, and was one that changed over time. Scholars have also pointed the evidence to a rich history of cooperation and efforts by Gandhi and Indian people with non-white South Africans against persecution of Africans and the apartheid.